Now, a few of you watching this might have seen my recent video where I shared my picks for the top 5 best performing football boots on the market right now. And at the 2 spot, I had this guy right here, the Adidas Predator 20.1, a football boot that is not only a great performer, but also my personal favorite at the moment. And the reason why I had it on this list was for a very specific feature, and that is the rubber spikes that span the forefoot and midfoot area of the upper that Adidas calls demon skin. What these spikes effectively do is provide a ton of additional grip on the ball, which is noticeable when dribbling, it's noticeable when controlling the ball, and I think it's particularly effective when it comes to shooting, which begs the question, is this actually an unfair advantage over other football boots? Now, I think most people would agree that it's the player, not the boots, and I'm one of those people. With that said, I think that there are certain boots with very particular features that have an impact on whatever it may be that would actually change the way that you do something or perhaps change the way that you make decisions. And I think that the Predator 20.1 is actually one of those boots, and I want to explain why that is in today's video. So if you want to learn more about these, including how they fit and feel on feet, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair of these new Locality Pack colorways for yourself, you can click the little pop-up on screen or the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for weekly content on everything football boots. Kickflip. Come on. Now, before we get into specifics on the boots, I just wanted to quickly touch on this extremely bright Locality Pack colorway, by far the brightest colorway of the new generation of Predator that we've seen so far. And the pictures are a little bit tricky with this one because it can look orange and it can also look pink, although I would definitely say it's a lot more orange than it is pink. And just to give you guys a side-by-side comparison with a boot colorway that I think you guys are all familiar with, the Nike Phantom Vision 2, this is clearly more pink. This is clearly more orange, although in the right light, they will look very pink. So either way, if you're not looking for something extremely bright, probably not a great idea. But I guess for those that are also not fans of the Predator design, because everything is the same color here, it makes the boot look a lot more simple than it would otherwise look in some of the more, I guess, regular colorways where the spikes especially are a lot more noticeable. So let's talk performance. And really the main question that I want to answer in this video is, does the extra grip provided by these demon skin rubber spikes legitimately give you an advantage over other football boots that provide nowhere near the same amount of grip? And just to clarify, I'm using the Predator 20.1. It is my preferred version of the new Predator 20 lineup, but the 20.1 mid is pretty much the exact same boot, just with the collar. The 20 plus actually has even more demon skin spikes, so technically there's a little bit of additional grip with those, although it's a very minor difference. And even the first takedown model, Predator 20.2, there aren't technically as many rubber demon skin elements, but it still provides a substantial amount of extra grip over other takedown models and other top-end models. So 20.2, 20.1, and 20 plus are all in this conversation. For me, what I've always liked about rubber elements on a football boot is the extra grip that it provides specifically when shooting. I think when it comes to legitimately controlling the ball and dribbling, the extra grip could potentially be beneficial depending on your specific style. I've always found that if you're somebody that tends to drag the ball across the upper when dribbling rather than push the ball, you might find that the extra grip might make you kind of trip over the ball, especially when you first get used to wearing the boots. It's something that does catch you a little bit off guard, but ultimately it's something that I think you will be able to get used to. However, when it comes to shooting the ball specifically, for me, if you're somebody that likes to curl the ball, which is typically kind of my go-to style of shooting in most situations, I'm not really a big free kick guy if I'm being honest, but I will try to curl the ball to a far corner or something like that. I really do feel like having the extra grip does allow you to not necessarily be more accurate, not necessarily curl the ball better, but I think it's easier to generate spin. And because I know I have that extra grip on my feet when I make contact with the ball, whether it's in dry or wet conditions, I feel like my decision to take a certain shot a certain way would actually be impacted by the boots that I'm wearing in that given moment. So to answer the question, does the extra grip result in a true advantage over other boots that don't have the same added grip? I think the answer actually has to be yes and no, which might actually be surprising. Now, the reason why I would say yes, hear me out for a second, is because for me personally, and everyone's gonna be a little bit different in regards to this kind of thing, I find that having the extra grip makes me feel a little bit more confident. I am more confident that I'm going to be able to generate the amount of spin that I want in a given situation to curl the ball to where it ends up at its, I guess, attempted target, because you're obviously going to miss still, regardless of whether or not you have extra grip. And if I were to hypothetically score a goal with a really good curling strike, would I, in my own head, to a certain extent, credit the added grip provided by the boots? I guess so, but the reason why you would argue no, it doesn't increase performance or give you any true advantage, is because if you see someone take a good shot, whether the boots have added grip or not, you're going to credit that person, not the boots on your feet. But like I said, confidence plays a big role in your overall performance, and I think your football boots, depending on what your mentality is in regards to football boots in general, could actually provide somewhat of a confidence boost that could in turn legitimately increase performance. Regardless of which side of the argument you're on, there is no denying that because of the added grip, the way that the Predator interacts with the ball is different from every other football boot currently available, and that's not nothing. So while there's very clearly a standout feature here with the Predator 20.1, the reason why I can call this my personal favorite is not just because I like the added grip, but because as a whole, I think that this is a very well-rounded product. And I think that's very important to note when picking out the right pair of football boots for you. It's great to really like a certain feature about a specific pair of football boots, but if everything else isn't very good, or the boots don't fit you well, or they're uncomfortable, or there's just something that doesn't work with your foot type or personal preference, you're probably not going to be completely happy with them. So trying to find a football boot where you like almost everything about it is kind of an ideal situation, especially if you're looking for that little bit of a confidence boost, because if you're not comfortable in the boots, I think it's hard to be confident when wearing them. So just to give you guys a quick technical breakdown, the upper does feature a thin mesh-based synthetic material with very minimal padding to it. There's no real softness to this upper, and the extra cushion is coming actually from the Demon Skin spikes themselves. It's soft rubber material. There is some noticeable compression when making contact with the ball. So these don't feel bulky or heavy in comparison to some classic Predator models that I know a lot of people would actually love to have back. I've heard a lot of people say that they wish this had a leather upper, or at the very least a synthetic leather upper, and maybe we'll get that in the future. But for right now, I actually don't mind what they've done here. The boot, of course, does feature a central lacing system, which really does its part in terms of giving you the adjustability and a surprising amount of lockdown. The upper is thin and flexible, but it also has some decent structure to it. The tongue area is made from a stretchy kind of prime knit mesh material, and then it does have a liner on the underside to prevent it from stretching too much. It just feels really nice in general. It's very good decision making in terms of how this was all put together. Obviously, this is the low cut version, so it does feature a low cut design. Again, if you prefer the collar, go for the mid, but otherwise they're pretty much exactly the same. Internal heel liner made from a soft synthetic suede material, plenty of extra padding as well, so heel lockdown and general comfort is definitely not an issue. Then the insole, that is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a soft synthetic suede liner on the surface, and it's made from a single layer of this black foam. Moving to the base, you have the completely redesigned control frame from what we saw in the first two generations of the Predator relaunch. It does feature an external heel counter, which I'm quite a big fan of, and of course it is now a split sole. So you still have your base sole plate underneath, then you have a stud plate in the heel, as well as a stud plate there in the forefoot, with pretty much the same stud pattern that we're used to seeing from the Adidas brand, although a little bit more aggressive this time around, where the studs do have somewhat of a bladed shape to them, especially in the heel. So in terms of aggressive traction, there's definitely going to be more aggressive patterns out there outside of the Adidas brand, but as a whole, I don't think many people are going to dislike what they've done here. Which brings us to the weight, where you're probably not expecting a Predator to be super light, and it isn't, but it also isn't a heavy boot either. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you in real time. Keep in mind this pair is a size 9.5 US, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.3 ounces, the equivalent of 235 grams, which is about an ounce more if compared to the speed boot offering from the Adidas brand right now, the X19.1, which is, I would say, a noticeable amount of weight, but at the same time, they're not going to feel heavy on your feet. So unless you're just after that super lightweight speed boot feel, you're probably not going to have too many issues with the weight of the Pred. So as you can see, I've swapped out the stock kind of pinkish orange laces for some black reflective SR4U replacement laces, which break up the extremely flashy colorway that this is, and I for some reason think that it makes them look a little bit more aggressive, which is how a Predator should look. It's also a great way of changing up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way. If you're interested in some for yourself, the website to visit is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, the Predators feel really good, although they feel very different from older style kind of classic Predators, and they certainly feel a lot different from the previous generation of Predator as well, which had more of this kind of soft sock-like sensation. Even though this is a mesh or knitted upper, you're going to find that it has more of a thin synthetic feel than it does a sock-like sensation on feet. There's not a lot of softness or padding to the upper. They've just kept it nice and thin. It wraps your foot very closely, and I would argue that it maybe feels a little bit more like a speed boot on feet than anything else, which is not necessarily a bad thing. From a comfort standpoint, they feel really nice. Good lockdown and comfort through the heel. They're a little bit tapered towards the midfoot, so a little bit tighter there. And then it's a little bit more wide and higher volume through the forefoot and toe box area. Again, kind of more traditional Predator in terms of overall shape, but as a whole, really comfortable, no major complaints from me there. As far as width is concerned, as long as you don't mind a slightly snug midfoot, these are gonna fit most people for sure without too many issues. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order some for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal retail price. And I'll have all the different Predator variations linked, so be sure to check that out. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.